It's been 6 months since I uploaded the Riven Revisit to YouTube, and I started playing Myst 3 Exile straight afterwards, and it's taken me this long to get around to making this video. Hello there, people of the internet, I'm Blake, and today I'm going to be talking about Myst 3 Exile and whether you should revisit it today. So one of the reasons why this review took such a long time is because I started playing Exile right after I finished my Riven Revisit, but I put it down for a really long time because I just wasn't wowed by the game and it didn't draw me in the way that I wanted to. It took until one night that I was just like, I don't really know what I want to do with myself, and I just was like, hey, let's just pick up Exile and see if I can get through it so I can finish the review. During that playthrough, something grabbed me and I couldn't put the game down. I had to finish it. So one of the things that I always think about when I'm making these videos is, why am I making this? And I think with Exile, I think this is kind of a lost classic. Everyone really loves Myst, and Myst gets re-released every few years, and then some people still talk about Riven occasionally, but you don't really hear much about Exile. And that's a shame, because Exile is a wonderful game, and it really does fit in the series super well. This is the second time I've ever played Myst Exile, so I was pleasantly surprised that this game was much better than I remember. The game is a little bit slow to get started, but once it hooks you, you are really hooked. Riven is definitely one of my favorite games ever made, so to follow this game is really hard. And I didn't play this game as a kid, so there is very little nostalgia for this game apart from the Myst series. So I don't have that nostalgia to be like, oh, it evokes this really amazing feeling in me. My first impressions of this game when you jump straight in is how much better looking it is than Riven. And this is something that I really didn't appreciate the first time I played this game, how fantastic this game looks. It is still in the classic pre-render style, but now you can actually look around and it feels like you can see a lot more and the pre-renders feel a lot more real. One of the most fantastic things about the Myst series is how real it always felt. Every time I've played it, I've thought, hey, this could be a real place, and this game really extends that because you can look around, you're not just restricted to this square space that you can look at. In Riven, you've just basically got a box that you could not really look around in or anything like that. I love that they've improved the graphics, the visuals, and the feeling of realness in this game. Because that's something that's always been huge for me with the Myst series, is how real it's felt with the combination of FMV and pre-rendered awesome graphics. And it's a huge selling point for the series.
Hey Tris, is that you? Come to rescue your book so soon?
Exile is the first game in the series to not be developed fully by Cyan Worlds. It was handed over to a studio called Presto Studios and published by Ubisoft. Presto Studios was known for its adventure game series, the Journeyman Project, and they were able to develop a game that felt incredibly Myst-like. The puzzles felt very similar to the puzzles we'd seen before, and I think they did an absolutely amazing job in this game. One of the things I've always really loved about Myst games is the fantastic soundtracks that go along with them. And this is the first one that's been developed outside of the Miller brothers, and it's still got the same Myst vibe, and it works really well. I'm a huge fan of game soundtracks or movie scores, and this one does feature in my rotation fairly often. Because they hired a different composer for this game, it has a slightly different style, but it does still sound very Myst-like. And I think that that's great because the soundtracks of Myst is a huge part of the reason I like playing these games, because it almost feels like a movie score. It's that impactful. One of the best things I noticed about this game straight away is how much better the FMV is.
What's the matter, Atris? Can't remember how things work?
The characters blend almost seamlessly with the background, and they almost seem to be part of the pre-render, but they're still there. They're just so well done. I think the FMV is really top tier in this game. And as I've stated with the other games, the FMV is one of the biggest selling points for this game for me. Magnificent FMV always sells a game and makes it feel so much more immersive and amazing every time I've seen it. Pretty much all of my favorite games have some sort of FMV in them. I think Exile is really important because it feels different to the first two games, but retains the vibe of Myst. Exile definitely feels more like a Myst sequel rather than a sequel to Riven. I feel like Riven was a lot less linear and you had a lot more ability to walk around, do puzzles at your own pace. Like Myst, there is a main hub age where you solve puzzles to gain access to the other ages. Unlike unlike Riven, where there's multiple islands which you kind of solve puzzles across all of them at different times. When you solve the puzzles in the lesson ages, you gain a clue to get access to Narayan to chase Savidro. I really enjoyed the puzzles in Exile. They had the same complexity as the ones in Myst and Riven. And they still felt really hard. I kind of have to admit that I did have to use a walkthrough this one again because, well, I just suck at puzzles. The puzzles in Narayan especially are super hard, and I struggle with them a lot. But there were a significant amount of puzzles I did solve correctly this time. And the sense of achievement that you get from solving puzzles in this game is immense. The puzzles are really complex, but when you do solve them, it's such a huge payoff. The main reason I was able to finish this game was because I enjoyed the Age of Amateria so much. I really struggled with the Age of Adana, and I didn't find myself getting wowed by it. Like, it looked pretty, but I just didn't find it super exciting, and it didn't hook me as much as it should have. The Age of Amateria just is awesome. I love all the pinball aspects to it, and that really drew me in and got really excited about the puzzles and just the age in particular. I got really lost in Amateria trying to solve all the puzzles, and it's probably one of the most fun experiences I've had in a Myst game so far is just that age. It's just absolutely awesome. I think just because it's got like such cool mechanics and stuff, and I don't know, it's just a great age, and I had a lot of fun playing it. And it's the main reason why I finished the game. One of the things I really loved about Riven and Myst is the story. The story is one of these things that, strangely, I always come back to for these games. I'm incredibly bad at puzzle games, but there is something about the story of this game that just keeps me coming back time and time again. And Exile is one of these games that I really didn't appreciate the story of the first time I played through it. Focusing more on Cirrus and Akanar and their actions prior to the Myst series is a really interesting way to go, and seeing the effect they had on other people is really interesting.
They took everything I had. My wife! My 2 baby girls!
As soon as you jump into the game, Atros talks to you about his new age, Relishan, and almost instantaneously it's stolen by a mysterious figure, and you pursue him to try and reclaim Relishan. And basically that's just the whole point of the game, is trying to recover Relishan from this crazed hermit. The backstory of the characters in Exile is told through the FMV and the books and pages that you pick up along the way. This is in the classic Myst style, and it's pretty good, but you know, it's kind of getting old by this point. I like reading in games, but it's not the most exciting thing to do. I kind of want to be jumping in and doing puzzles or experiencing the story through FMV a lot more.
This morning I woke up and I couldn't picture Tamrai's face.
I would have loved to see way more FMV, but as you guys know, I absolutely love FMV, so the more the better. The story in the games of Myst is only as good as the actors portraying the characters in the FMV. And I think in this case, the actors that they got were absolutely fantastic. The guy that plays the bad guy in this is incredible. He has this Joker-esque aspect, which just kind of really works for the character. He really sells the I'm a hermit, semi-crazy guy vibe. And I think that's the best thing about the story in this game is the bad guy. And he has a relatable story. He seems like he's legitimately upset, and for good reason. I won't spoil the story too much if you haven't played the game yet, but I think that most of you watching this video have, and you'll know what I'm talking about. It's really cool seeing Atros in a different setting than we saw him in Myst and Riven. And this is good because it kind of gives you a little bit more backstory of Atros, and that's never a bad thing in my book because he is my favorite character in this series. Myst 3 Exile is a fantastic game, and it was surprisingly much better than I remember. So I think that if you are thinking of revisiting the Myst series, Exile definitely should be one that you check out. And if you haven't played it before, it is a fantastic game in the series and is definitely worth a playthrough. This game really did surprise me, and in a really good way, because I wasn't expecting much, but I was kind of blown away by this game. Riven is still my favorite game in the Myst series, and I find it really hard to shake that from the top spot, but Exile is really fantastic because I feel like it goes in a different direction, and I really like the direction that it went. I loved all the FMV. Savidra was amazing, and I really enjoyed his performance, and it really sold that character really well. So overall, I'm really impressed with Exile, but it's definitely not my favorite Myst game. The combination of improved graphics, improved FMV, improved story even, is really just a no-brainer to play this game. I really loved Myst 3 Exile, and I'll probably revisit it again in a few years' time. But you should do yourself a favor and play one of the Myst games today. Now that I've finished the review to this game, I'm really looking forward to playing some more of the Myst series games. After I've finished doing all the reviews on this, I plan to do a mega review of the entire series and talk about which ones I like the best and what has the best aspects and what I kind of want to see from the Myst series going forward. I know that they're not planning on releasing any games in the immediate future, but, you know, I really want to see some remakes or remasters of some of the older games, so I'm super passionate about this series, so I really want to talk about that in a video, and I think that you guys would probably enjoy that. I haven't been doing many revisits for a while because I kind of just needed a break because they burnt me out a little bit, but I'm going to be coming back and doing some more soon, so if you want to see those, remember to subscribe to the channel, and if you've enjoyed this video, remember to give it a big fat like, and drop me a comment of your experiences with Exile, or if you don't have anything with Exile, just drop me a nice emoji, it really helps with engagement. Anyways, thanks for being awesome, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.